In the last 30 days, my store has done $49,000 in sales off of 700 orders at a nearly 6% conversion rate. And in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how much of that is profits. And I keep things simple because this month isn't over. I'm actually going to do last month, which was $36,000. But I'm going to show you how much that was profit, even after tariffs and all kinds of other nonsense. And of course, how I plan to increase revenue and increase profits over time. Let's get into it. So let me set some context here before we dive into the exact numbers. But it was one product, aka a kit. It was one product and one offer that made me all my money. And my cost of goods before tariffs was $12.41. Then it went to $17.66, which was what, a $4.25 increase. And how I offset that was a sneaky little play that I actually implemented while my costs were still here, and that was shipping protection. That was implementing that at $4.95, and that looks like a 9. $4.95. This was a pre-selected option, so the toggle was on. So 9 times out of 10 people are going to keep this on. You're going to get an extra $5 for free. That offset my costs. Now, the tariffs have been dropped from 145% to 30%. My new cost is $14.53, something like that. I haven't been paying it yet. It's been tweaking. But for about half the month and the other half of the month, I paid both $12.41 then $17.66 for the majority of my orders. I had upsells, I had other stuff that went into it, but this was the base cost. So with this, what is my AOV? It varies, but let's just stick with $68.93 is a base level. So $68.90. I'm just gonna do some quick math here. Pretty much revealing everything here, by the way. The exact number is $68.93 minus $12.41 is $56.52 divided by $68.93. That is a 81, call it 82% gross margin, which is huge. This allows me to spend what was that? $56 almost on ads. So call it 55. Give yourself a little bit of room to breathe because there are fees and stuff. So probably even less. Call it 53 to be safe. That's your break-even point. Just to be rough with it. $53 before I can turn ads off. Right? I mean, over that, and I would turn ads off. So $53 is a lot to acquire a customer, and that means that if you get somebody for $25, you're making $25 per sale. Unfortunately, that kind of stopped. I had some of those sales initially, like my first month, and then my CPA ended up being around like 30-ish to 35, dropped up to 40, and my margins weren't ideal. But with this 82% gross margin, this helped so much because initially I was paying $23.40, $23.50, something like that. And it kind of varied, actually, depending on where I was sending it to. It was a weird setup that I had because, like I said, it was a 3-in-1 kit. So I was sending 3 products, 1 from the US, 2 from China. It was just a mess. But now it's all coming from China. But 82% margin. Now, with the tariffs, by the way, let's do the math really, really quick. $63.98 minus $12.41 here. Just in case we don't have that normal margin. 51.53, 51.57 divided by, what was it, 63.98? That is an 80% margin. So regardless, Hormozy made a video about this many years ago. It's close to 81, but call it 80%. 80% gross margin. So my margin percentage went up 2%. When I added the shipping protection on. So that adds free revenue, free margin, right? But Hormozy said in videos many years ago that if your business is not operating at least, I think it was 75% gross margin, it's just going to fail eventually over time because you simply cannot run it that way. And obviously this isn't profit margin, this is gross margin. Now, typical profit margins for e-com stores, if you Google it, which let's just do that right now, how much do e-com stores usually make, I spelled that wrong, profit margin. Gross profit margin around 40% to 80%, net profit of 4 to 7. Holy crap, it's even lower than I thought it was. 10% net. Yikes. Okay, that's not where you want to be at. The goal is to be around 20%. That is where you want to be at. And that's even, you're still not making a whole lot of money at 20%. You're really not. Because for every $1,000 you do, you're only making 200. There really isn't that much money. So, yeah. But, and of course, your net margin varies by day. But let's just continue with our example here. Just to break this down, I have to show you this to you guys, why it's very important to have some of these additional add-ons and AOV and stuff. And I'm going to talk about that more as we get into it. But once my let's just say my AOV, once for sure when I had tariffs, once that was in effect, I for sure had this shipping protection play on. So minus 1766, 5123. We're right back where we were pretty much. So let's divide that by 6893. And unfortunately though, because of that extra couple bucks, all of a sudden my margin dropped down to 74%. And that's the gross margin. But losing that 6% is actually huge. And actually, it's not just 6, it's 8. That is huge. This is why recently I've been a lot less profitable than I was before. Because 8% of my margin just got shaved off. That's why tariffs sucked. Even after implementing that play. Let's just say, once again, continuing with our hypotheticals here, that I didn't do that shipping protection margin. This is why a lot of people just completely got screwed with the tariffs. 63.98. Let me do that the right way. 63.98 minus, what was it, 1766? This is also why it was really hard for me to profit in the beginning at a 23.40 cost. 46.32 divided by 63.98. Looking at 72%. So the margin's still 2% here. So it's nothing crazy. But 72, I mean, we're just getting lower and lower. If you're below 70, I mean, you are for sure cooked. Like, the minimum you should be at is 70%. And if you're in the 80s, now you have a really good chance. So 80s is really solid. You can make a lot more money that way. And that's, somebody asked me some questions the other day about, they had a profitable store and then it became unprofitable. And the number one thing I noticed was immediately his gross margin was like 66%. If he cut that, or excuse me, he didn't cut that, he increased that gross margin, he could let those ads spend up a little bit more, and that could give them some time to get some more reach, and then he could introduce more awareness levels, right? You could retarget some of those people, and now your cost per acquisition is going to settle back down. Initially, it was hot, it was really low, and it started to rise as he started to tap out the audience. Now, if you can afford to pay more, right? Facebook is all about who can pay the most, pretty much for a customer. And obviously, you want to pay the least, but how do you pay the least? Well, by them seeing your product, by having really high converting copy, high converting visuals, all that good stuff, lots of trust built up, having a product that does what it's supposed to, solves problems, right? All that stuff plays into it. But if you can spend more to get them to convert, you're going to win. Funsies, let's do the math on 63.98 minus 23.40. 58, 63.98. I mean, 63%. It's a wonder I made any money at all. I did have some profitable days, and that was just absurd. My ROAS was nuts. Facebook just gifted me some days. It must have felt bad for me in the beginning, because 63% is terrible. So keep this in mind as we start to break this down. Now we're going to take a look at my Notion dashboard where I track everything. I have a really, really good idea of what's going on with my business, and I manually put this down every day. So this was the month of April. This is the month I did $36,000. And after refunds, canceled orders, it was $36,139. I think it's off by like $1, something like that. Average order value was $68.43. $22,000 in Facebook spend, 1.78 ROAS. Product cost was $6,711. Fees, this is off a little bit. This is estimated at 3%. With shop pay orders, this actually ended up being about $1,300 in sales. So profit was $6,000, take away about $300-ish, give or take, and we're looking at about $5,800, $5,750. So let's just write that down. $5,750 off of 36,138. I believe that was the exact total. Might be wrong. So let's just do the math here. 5750 divided by 36,138. That is a 16% gross, or excuse me, net profit margin, which is honestly not bad at all. Like, that is solid. Could it be better? Yeah, it could be a lot better. And let me also tell you something. This was the third month of operation for this store, and no subscription offer. It was a one-time purchase offer, and no bulk offer at all. Just literally just buy the kit, and a returning customer rate 0%. So clearly, I'm doing something wrong on that side, and to fix that, I'm going to get into that in a minute. Actually, I'm not going to go over that just yet, because first I want to talk about increasing revenue and how I plan to do this, and how I've already kind of implemented some different tactics here in the month of May. And first of all, literally just spending more. I was really scared to spend more with tariffs, and then I had some issues with the products, the suppliers, and I still can have some problems. So I was afraid to spend more. 20%, let me write this down, 20% every day to profitable. I don't do this right now at all because I'm kind of chilling. 20% every day that you can, that you're profitable, scale. And, you know, if it becomes negative, you get a bad day, chill. If it becomes bad again, you got to go down until you find a point where it's stable and you're profitable. So let's just say you work your way up to 1K spend, which is actually where I'm at right now, and you go higher. This is the issue I ran into too, but it's also because I'm only running a couple creatives, not running a lot. That you go to 1,500 and your performance drops. And it does that consistently for like a couple days. Now you got to go back down to 1K. Everything stabilizes. You could slowly increase as well. For me, like I said, right now, I'm not doing that just because I have some issues with suppliers, and I also haven't had time to make new creatives, I'm not going to lie. So, yeah, that's that. But spending more, easy fix. A lot of people don't do it. They just have a bazillion creatives spending all over the place. Just take the ads that you have that are winning and spend more. It's very simple, but it works. So, is more products / offers. So you can run the same product, right? My winning product, I can take that, and now I can run those same ads to offer 1, offer 2, and offer 3. Just try different offers, see what converts the best, pick that, double down on it, and scale it even more. So easy thing. If it has different products, we have a format that worked on product 1. Maybe that's the hero product. Now we launch side product. We launch a Robin product, another Robin product, product 3. These maybe go well off of this, right? Especially if you're in a branded store, you're going to want to sell products that are obviously very similar. Now you build off of this. You can do upsells, you can do cross sells, you can do all kinds of stuff. And yeah, now you can scale product 3, you can scale product 2. Maybe they even intersect a little bit, and you can combine these products and do an ultimate offer right here. So there's all kinds of different things that you can do, but that's what I'm planning to do. I've been worked on launching some other products, and some of them have hit, some of them have not hit. My threshold for killing products is a little bit higher, or excuse me, a little bit lower right now. This is because I'm not trying to go too crazy with it. So I could definitely force some things and try to figure out some angles that work. But if it's not like hitting right away, I've kind of been killing it. But there is another offer that I found that it does work that I'm holding off on just for the time being. The next thing is to go to more platforms. This, I don't know. For personal experience, I'm only on Facebook. This is something you can definitely do. I like Facebook. I like Instagram. That's where I'm sticking. You could go to Pinterest. Obviously, if you're selling tools, maybe it'll work there. But or beauty products, maybe it'll work there. But home products work really good. Otherwise, probably not. Snapchat, TikTok. TikTok's hard though, I feel like, these days. With TikTok Shop, you're getting undermined every day. It's hard there. But yeah, you can go to more platforms. You can just expand your reach. You can go to freaking Google. You can go to YouTube. There's all kinds of things you can do. It's just building out more horizontal things, more omnipresence, right? So you're present in more places. Maybe you can even hit some of the same customers. Like if you run a pixel, right, you could find lookalike audiences for people that are coming to your TikTok or from Snapchat, and now you can hit them with retargeting ads, and they get more touch points, and then they're much more likely to convert. And there's a lot of different methods you can do. So those are the 3 ways that I would increase revenue. And like I said, for me, this third one, I'm not going to be expanding to more platforms, not for a little while. But more products, more offers, yes, I'm doing that. Spending more, yes, I'm going to be doing that. So that's how I'm going to increase revenue. Now, how I plan to increase profits, this one is a little bit different. All right, so the 3 ways that I plan to increase my profits here as I continue this store is, first of all, with email. I honestly I've done like one push, like a campaign push for email. I haven't really touched email at all. I have my basic flow set up, and that's it. So I definitely need to work on email. That is something that I know works really well for a lot of people, and healthy businesses, from my understanding, are running at about 25 to 30% plus, which is a lot of business of the revenue. So that would be, for me, let's just say it's $50,000. $50,000 times 0.3. That should be another $15,000 just from email. Well, I can tell you right now, I'm not doing that. I'm doing some revenue from emails from people doing like the welcome bonus or the welcome series and maybe some abandoned checkouts. Like, I'm not getting absolutely nothing, but it's not 30%. Definitely not. It's maybe more like 5, if that. So that is how I plan to increase profits. The next thing is returning customers. I definitely need that. So that plays into part 3 of this equation, which is better offers. So that would be like a returning subscription offer. There's a lot of things that I have to play around with and just test, see what works for this audience. Returning customers also can be gotten through the emails, right? We can send them new products, new offers, new deals, right? Maybe if they want to buy their product again, give it to a friend. Some different ways you can, work around that. So definitely need to get returning customers. Then the third thing is higher AOVs. So anytime I'm looking for products now, if it's under 50, I don't like it. If it's 75, I like it. If it's 100 plus, I love it. I love it. So yeah, that's where my head's at these days. In the beauty niche specifically, if it's under 50, there is just no way. I don't know how people would do it. You have to have the most insane ads. So if you can do it, props to you. Big props. 75 is where I'd like to be at, honestly, for like AOV. Obviously, I want a good gross margin on that, but having a higher AOV makes things a little bit easier. That gives you more room to spend. And typically then with the higher price points, you can get a little bit more of this margin, because in order to get this 82% gross margin on a $50 product, we decrease that AOV, immediately you have to have a way lower cost of goods. So that's a huge thing, is to have a high AOV and increase that in any way possible. And since you made it this far, I think you'd be a great fit for joining Tropic Ecom. It's my Discord community that I offer one-on-one Loom coaching, personalized feedback for your store and your offers, all that good stuff. There are some educational videos in there where I do teach on some different things that I've learned that are a little bit more suited for behind closed doors than on YouTube. There are a lot of themes, templates, scripts. There's all kinds of great stuff there. Lots of valuable resources that you can't just put out on the internet for free. So I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.